Hola from the west side. It is me, DC the Purple Diva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Friday, y'all. We made it to the end of the week. Hey, Angela. Happy Friday. Let me just share myself out because I know even though I did schedule this yesterday, I pushed it back a little bit. So let me share myself out. Let folk know I'm on. I'm live. Come through and chill. Even though I know there's other folk live tonight, but I gotta do what I gotta do. So I got some stuff to say, so I put it out. So first of all, I want to say happy heavenly birthday to Dr. Martin Luther King. He would have been 92 years old today. He was born in 1929. And he's 10 years older than my dad. Also, I want to say happy Founders Day. And I'm coming right back, you guys. Making myself some tea. Happy Founders Day. Hey, 1SP, thank you so much for sharing me out. Happy Founders Day to the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Our Founders Day, Deltas, our Founders Day was on the 13th, which was Wednesday. And today is Alpha Kappa Alpha's Founders Day. And if you were in these YouTube streets earlier today, you would have seen a live where Madam Vice President-elect spoke at one of the founders, the National Founders Day thing for Alpha Kappa Alpha. I guess she talked about somewhat of her experience, because she did pledge at a HBCU. So today is the actual birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, and we will be celebrating it as a nation on Monday. And what people normally do on that day is they do acts of community service. We have parades, but I don't think there are going to be any parades this year because of the COVID. So I think that there'll probably be opportunities for people to do some community service, even with the social distancing. Yeah. So she was an Alpha chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha, and Alpha chapter of Delta Sigma Theta was also founded on Howard University's campus. And this is just, I think that my sorors, the founders, were being petty by making our Founders Day January 13th, because if you know the history between the Deltas and the AKAs, is that the founders of Delta Sigma Theta were members of Alpha Kappa Alpha who left the sorority, because at that time, Alpha Kappa Alpha was not a public service sorority. And they started Delta to be a public service sorority because they wanted to deal with the women's suffrage movement that was going on at that time. Yes, Howard University is in DC, which is where I'm from. But here's the funny thing. Most of us who are actually from DC, at least a lot of people from DC don't go to Howard. I did go 1 year to an HBCU, but I went to Hampton. because I didn't want to go to school at home. I was trying to get away from home when it was time for college. So I went to Hampton 1 year, and then I transferred to a PWI and finished college in California. So I think, what a lot of people don't also, people may not know that Reverend King was also a member of a fraternity. He was a member of the same fraternity my father is, which is Alpha Phi Alpha. Matter of fact, my father and Reverend King pledged the same chapter because they both went to Morehouse. I told you guys that I've talked about my dad going to Morehouse, and the fact that my father was actually the student body president of Morehouse his senior year. Shouts out to my dad. And he is the one who organized the Atlanta sit-ins with the other HBCUs in Atlanta, i.e. Spelman, Clark, Atlanta University. There you go. So yeah. So that's my dad's role in the civil rights movement. And he was also at the speech at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963. He and my mom were at that speech. I was not. I was here. I was born. I was in DC at the time, but a family friend, actually a cousin, one of our family members, a cousin, watched me so my parents could go watch Reverend King. And somewhere in my photos that my mom, left, there are photos from the actual march, march in Washington in 63. Yeah, Hampton is in Virginia. I would say from DC, Hampton is a couple of hours, like about 3 hours away, because Richmond is about 2 hours from DC if you're driving normal speed, because Richmond is 100 miles from DC, and then Hampton is another hour going east because Hampton is on the York River. It's, right there by Newport News. Beautiful campus, great school. If I had to do it over, I would have finished college at Hampton and then come to California. I would have still pledged Delta. I would have just been on a much larger line, and I would have probably pledged my sophomore year like most of my friends did instead of my junior year. And, and I pledged my junior year because I transferred universities, and yeah. So I was like short a couple of credits. I had to get those credits back in summer school and stuff so I could, get out of there on time. But yeah, Hampton was on the 3-credit system. Back then, I don't know what their credit system is these days, but back in the 80s, they were on a 3-credit system, whereas USC was on the 4-credit system. So I lost credits transferring because I needed more credits. So what I did is, my first summer, I went to summer school so I could get my credits back. Hey, Jazzy. I'm just talking. But this will be a 3-day weekend for some folk. For some folk, this is a 3-day weekend. But it's just weird this year because I think, we're, at least I'm used to, the celebrations for Dr. King. But even if we weren't in the middle of this pandemic stuff still going on, I still think that it would not be a lot of stuff going on Monday, just because of the ignorance that happened in my hometown last week. That whole situation is really sad to me, you guys. I mean, broke my heart, really. And there are people who are still denying, that these people were violent, and they're trying to compare it to Black Lives Matter. It's not even the same thing, okay? And y'all know how I feel about Black Lives Matter, so we don't want to even make that kind of comparison. Because in my opinion, and this is my opinion, Black Lives Matter is not really about Black families. At least not the traditional Black family. So, that means that they're not really for Black men. And that's just my opinion. But if you go and read on their website, if it's still up there, I do believe it's still there. You just have to go digging for it. You'll see what they're about. I mean, I'm not saying they're not about Black people, but they're not about all Black people, like their name leads you to believe. That's all I'm saying. They're about specific groups of Black people. And I guess they have a right to be that way. But it's just very misleading. Very misleading. The name that they chose. Let's see what you said. Did Papa Purple get arrested? I don't know. I do not know 1SP, because he definitely participated in the Atlanta sit-ins. He probably, I don't know. I'm not going to even say he did, because I don't know. I'll have to ask him. I'll ask my dad that. I will ask him, and I'll let you know, because I don't know. If they were arresting folk in Atlanta, he probably did get arrested, though. I know my dad, but then again, I don't know, because he's a doctor now. So, who knows? I'll ask them. I don't know. Were they arresting folk in Atlanta? I know that they tried to let in Greensboro. They were trying to arrest people. But I don't really know the full history of what happened in Atlanta, as well as I know about the Greensboro, because the Greensboro 4, that was the original sit-in. It's what spurred everything. Them sitting in. So, yeah. I'll have to ask my dad. That's a good question. I'll ask him. Yeah. But believe it or not, Purple is me, but my dad is a January baby. Our birthdays are 5 days apart, though. But, February, we're different. February babies are different. Let me just tell y'all that. We're very different. We're very artsy. We're very free-spirited, Yeah, but, we tend to think we know everything. Because we do. Just kidding. My dad, he's like cool. He's like really, really cool. He's like the jazzy dad, but he's a doctor. You know what I mean? If he wasn't a doctor, the doctor makes him more conservative. But my dad's a jazz head. He plays the tenor sax and the alto sax, and learned how to play those two instruments at age 60. Because in his younger years, my dad played the clarinet. And if you know anything about woodwinds, the fingering on the clarinet and on the sax are very similar. So my dad knows how to play both. Yeah, like I said, I had to ask my dad. I don't even know the answer to that question, to be perfectly honest with you. So I would definitely have to ask my father. My mom was in the sit-ins in New Orleans because, my family's from New Orleans. And my mom went to Xavier. So she was there. So, and my auntie too, my auntie and my uncle. It's like, yeah, my family was all up in that stuff. That's why we all vote. My family's of the opinion they don't care really who we vote for, what our political affiliations are. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I got some Republicans in my family, y'all. Don't we all? Isn't there somebody in everybody's family that's and you don't know why, but they just are? Yeah, so I've got a few of those. But for the most part, a lot of my family, at least my generation and the generation after me, a lot of us are nonpartisan. Now, and I'm finding that that's happening with more and more of the younger voters. People are not choosing parties because they're a mess. The whole political system is broken. But I will be watching the inauguration on Wednesday morning. Wouldn't miss it for the world. I think it shows class on Mr. Pence's part, that he, does his duty that 45 chooses not to do. But you see, here's the thing. 45 is going to leave early in the morning, and he should touch down in Florida before noon. So he should technically have touched down in Florida before he is no longer president. And by the time he gets off the plane, he'll no longer be president. But he will still have his own personal Secret Service folk for the rest of his life, And that is even if they impeach him again. Because, Mr. Clinton, although he was impeached and can never run for public office again, he still has his, Secret Service because he was a president for the rest of his life. So even if they do that, we will still be paying for Secret Service to protect 45 for the rest of his life. So anybody thinking about doing anything crazy to 45, don't even think about it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. He's not going anywhere. He may be put on mute for a while. He's on mute right now. And from what I heard, you guys, is that the courts are not in any hurry to make Google put Paula back up. Not in any hurry whatsoever. But, hey, Mr. Trump has so much money, right? So he could probably just start his own, social media platform. I mean, people with less money than that have started their own social media platform, so he can start one. And then he can say whatever he wants to say. Yes, they can decline the Secret Service. They can decline it, but they have it if they want it. And y'all, let me just tell you, do you see this man turning down having Secret Service that he does not have to pay for, that we got to pay for? He ain't turning it down. Yeah, DC is going to be very crowded next week. You know, I know people who still are planning on we're going. And I mean, I'm just going to tell you this. I know that there's going to be a whole lot of AKAs in DC, you know, supporting their soror, you know, as vice president. So it's going to be a lot of people there. I don't think it would be as many people as it would have been pre-COVID, but I think it's still going to be a decent number of people, considering that we are in COVID. But DC is locked down, y'all. They're not going to unlock DC until after the inauguration. And it may not get done right away, you know, because, you know, the crazies are still out there. I mean, at this point, we have state capitals being locked down in most states, and telling, you know, these groups don't even think about coming. So I know there's chatter. People are hearing things that there's, you know, more stuff that may happen. So we just have to, you know, stay on ready, be alert, be vigilant, be ready for it. Oh, Bush declined it. Oh, the second Bush. Yeah. Interesting. Well, I know the Obamas still have theirs, and I don't think Mr. Obama is gonna stop having his. He, you know, he's gonna keep that protection. He earned it. 2 terms. 2 terms, you know. But, you know, Mr. Trump has a few more days to be president. I told you guys that man is not going to, he's not going to resign. It's not going to happen. It'll be interesting to see what information comes out in regards to the quote unquote insurrection that happened, just to see, you know, how much culpability they're going to find that he actually had in that. I mean, in my opinion, his words had been igniting this fire for months. You know what I'm saying? He had been saying things way before that day. Otherwise, why would have all those people have decided to be in DC on that day? He had been saying things. And see, that's the part, you know, that, you know, they don't want him to hold him accountable. He has to be held accountable for his own words. And his words caused those actions. People are saying he didn't think that that they were gonna be like that. I call BS. I call BS. I think he did. You know, I think he did. But, you know, hey. That's just my opinion. I've been shouts out to my girl JV Dessalines. I got to hear part of her live earlier. I didn't get to hear the whole thing. Obviously I had to jump off of her live, start my own live. But I did hear, her live where she was talking about, I guess, a certain type of woman that they call a pick-me. And I'll just talk about it just briefly from my perspective. I think that this is just definitely, I don't know, I guess more of a cyber type of chick, because you don't see too much of that in real life, but it was interesting, that she was just kind of giving some perspective into that culture and how that culture came about, of basically women who have no standards or requirements for the men that they're with, but I guess they would be like, there's also a class, I'm just sick of that thing. I'm going to turn that chair upside down, you guys, after I get off this live, and hammer that thing into place, because it's just bothering me. But I can't do it right now. Hey, AKA James. Happy Friday, dude. It's payday for some of us. Just got paid. It's Friday night. Party's jumping. Feeling right. Although there's no parties for us to go to, thanks to COVID. Of course, me, I'm not gonna, I'm probably past the age of really being at parties a lot anyway, or clubbing, definitely, but I would like to, celebrate my birthday in a big way this year, but I'm not going to be able to, because my birthday is right before Super Bowl, and you guys know we're going to still be in a COVID state. But I will be doing virtual party online with you guys. Oh, I just wanted to give you guys some more information about the video I dropped yesterday. So let me tell you guys, yesterday at work, in the middle of my morning, I got a call from one of the managers asking me about this position that I was already planning on applying for. And I didn't realize, you guys, until I had gotten off of the call with them, that they had interviewed me for the position that I hadn't applied for. I hadn't applied for it, but they were interviewing me for it. And so the conversation went like, so please make sure you send your resume over tonight, because this is an internal position. Now, you guys, this is basically the same position that I got demoted from, or that a mass number of us got demoted from because of COVID, when we had a slowdown of business, and now they're bringing us back up to our positions. So I don't know when it's going to start, but I'm just waiting at this point. But I was told that we would know something in the next couple of days. So hopefully the beginning of next week, because my plan is for me to have this level up back to where I was before my birthday, you guys. So praise God for restoration. Praise God for leveling up. Praise God for keeping my house throughout this, despite the things that these people did, and how he just opened up the windows of heaven. Oh, Donna Summers. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love Donna Summers. She worked hard for her money. So hard for her money. She works hard for her money. Better treat her right. Yeah, I remember. I've done Donna Summers before. I did actually a couple of years ago. I did a tribute. It was a tribute. It was karaoke tribute. And I did Donna Summers. And I did, which one? Oh, I did The Last Dance. Last Dance. Last Chance for love. That's the song I did. I didn't win. This guy who did Rod Stewart, who didn't sound nothing like Rod Stewart, but he looked just like Rod Stewart, won the tribute. And I think it's just because he looked more like him. But the song I like by Donna Summers, you guys, I don't know if you guys remember this song. It was called Love to Love You, Baby. Oh, love to love you, baby. Oh, love to love you, baby. And there's a whole lot of moaning and groaning in it. Yeah, I did Last Dance. I think that's the song she did for that movie. TG, what was it? Thank God It's Friday. Yeah, she did it for that movie. And they actually filmed that at a club here in the Los Angeles area. It's actually like, it doesn't exist anymore, but it did for a long time. The club's name was Osco's, that they actually did it at. And that's actually the same place that the group GQ, y'all remember that group GQ? GQ did a video there called Disco for their on that album Disco Nights. The cover of the album Disco Nights for GQ is in front of that club too. But that club was there like all the way until like the 90s, you guys. And then the Beverly Center expanded itself because it literally was by the Beverly Center. The Beverly Center expanded itself, and now there's like a bunch of shops and stuff where that club used to be. Because it's on the street, it's on San Vicente Boulevard in Los Angeles. That's where it was. But the name of the club was Osco's. Fun fact for you guys. I used to hang out there back when I was much, much younger. Back in the 80s, I used to hang out at that club in the 80s. But that's where they did that movie. Thank God It's Friday. That's where they did that. And I don't know if you guys know, but Donna Summers' daughter is an actress. She was on, what show was she on? She was on, I think it's My Wife and Kids with Dwayne Martin. Not with Dwayne Martin. With the Wayans one. Yeah. With Dwayne Wayans. She played the oldest son's girlfriend, then wife. That young lady is the late Donna Summer's daughter. It was it just when I went there, when I was going there during the 80s, you guys, it looked the same as it did in the movie. It looked the same as it did in the movie. I mean, when I was in college, I went up there a couple of times. You know, when I was in school, and then I went there a few times after I got out of college. But I stopped. I can say that I probably was going to clubs, but by my mid-20s, I was pretty much clubbed out. And I got married in my 20s, so I definitely wasn't, one of them folk that was still hanging out in the club in their 30s. But yeah, I went to the clubs, in college and like up to my mid-20s. But to me, the club scene was like a meat market. And I don't mean MEEET. I mean like meat that you eat, because everybody was a piece of meat. There was like a couple of different, there was a few places in LA that were like I would say the urban scene, and they were scattered all over the city. And there was this one place called the Speakeasy that was in Hollywood, and that place was weird because the men had to be 25 to get in. Men had to be 25 to get in. The women only had to be 21 to get in. But let me just say, every time I went to that club, it's just a bunch of old people. Old men were in there. It was old men with younger girls. And let me just, and to the point that I've been making, in regards to this craziness that a certain content creator whose initials are KS have said, when I was in my 20s, old men were not attractive to me. I did not want to be with any dude that was in his freaking 40s, much less his 50s. I don't know, because let me think. When I was in my 20s, if you were in your 50s, you're like, I don't know, old enough to be my freaking father. I'm like, my dad ain't that much older than me, but he's older than me. But he's like, my dad is like 20 something years older than me. So somebody who's 20 something years older than me would not be somebody I would want to be with in my 20s. Yuck. Like, ooh. But, this content creator wants us to believe that. And it's nonsense. I can just tell you from experience. When I was that girl in my 20s, I went on old man. Stop it. I didn't want no old man. And contrary to what homeboy is saying, I mean, I'll go into this more in detail in my coffee talk video that's going to be coming out. But I know when I was in my 20s, I didn't seem to have a hard time finding men who were upwardly mobile. But maybe it's because, I don't know, I was in LA. I was I was in finance. I need to say the cub looked pretty cool. Yeah, Damien, that's his name. I don't know why I couldn't think of that boy's name, that man's name. Lord, I don't know why I couldn't think of that man's name for nothing, which is crazy, because at one point in my career, in another life part of my career, I was a lending officer in mortgage lending, and we did a lot of celebrity loans. Some of the Wayans peoples were among them. It was kind of cool seeing all of like the black celebrities loans, and and this was back in the time when people would go stated and stuff. But I'm gonna tell you something. When I would see loans, these real estate loans for black entertainers, they were always full doc. I would always see their full tax returns and everything. And some of these people, the amount of money that they made net a month was just crazy, Babyface, and this was back in the 90s. It's back in the 90s, yeah. Him and L.A. Reid. Let me just tell you something. And my Sands, my sorority sister, my line sister who pledged Delta Sigma Theta with me, who has a PhD in accounting, was the accountant for LaFace Records, who had to chase that man all over LA to get him to sign checks because they wanted to know where all their money was going. They were smart about that. He was smart like that, I think a lot of people took notes from earlier black celebrities who ended up in bankruptcy court or ended up owing all this money to the IRS because they let the accountant handle everything and they wasn't watching their own money. But that's a whole nother story. But what I'm saying is when I was looking at a lot of celebrities, not just even the black ones, but just looking at the celebrity loans and looking at what some of these people made, it was just crazy. Hey, just chilling. Yeah, it was crazy. Babyface, y'all. I don't know what he's making now, but let me just say the kind of money that man was making, back when LaFace Records was around and he was married to Tracy. Stupid money. Stupid money. Hey, uppity. I'm like, stupid money. And I mean, I was used to seeing, people who made lots and lots of money because that's the kind of loans that were going through there on regular people. It was regular millionaires, but a whole lot of entertainers would come through there. But I'm like, Babyface I was just like, it was just crazy. I mean, and I had to actually, type up a whole summary because it was so much money, that it had to go to a loan committee. And it was, even though I had extremely high signing authority, It was higher than my signing authority. It required 3 people's signatures on it. But it was nice to see, you know, that he made good money. Obviously had excellent credit, obviously, you know. But this was back when he had, you know, that house they had in Homely Hills here in the Los Angeles area, where he had like he had the studio, a big huge studio on his property and everything. I don't think he still has that property, because I believe that was when he and her split, that property went away. But it was crazy seeing those kind of things. But as I'm saying this to say that when I was younger, I was around a lot of money, a lot of people with money, black and brown. And they weren't in their 40s and 50s making this kind of money. You know? And I don't know. I saw, you know, many women, beautiful women, you know, getting with this guy or that guy who was high earning. Because, you know, high earning and high value are 2 different things, in case y'all didn't know. But, you know, they weren't looking at people that were the KSs of the world. Not if they were in their 20s. You know, I mean, here's the thing. Women in their 20s, the highest, the most up they'll go over someone in their 20s is maybe someone in their 30s. You know, they're not looking for the 50-year-old. They're not looking for their father. They're not trying to marry their father. They're not. You know, any more than, you know, the 20-something men are trying to marry their mothers either. You know, it's, you know, I know it's a fantasy for these older men, but fantasy and reality are 2 different things, y'all. They are 2 different things. It was easier to be celebs back in the day. But, you know, here's the thing. Like, back then, I'll just say, like, in the 80s and the 90s, for the most part, it's like if you saw them with, you know, living a certain type of way, except for, you know, like, we won't talk about like the New Editions and the you know, TLCs and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, these artists were living within their means. When you saw them with a whole bunch of stuff, it's because they now had the money to back that stuff up. You know, but you know, you didn't see them flossing with a bunch of stuff that, you know, I mean, back then, if you saw them at award shows with a bunch of stuff, we all knew that was lender stuff that they just had for the award show. That's not how they dressed all the time. But now you have these artists, and I use the term loosely, you know, who have you thinking they're living high on the hog when they ain't put out but one song or one mixtape. Have no major distribution. You know? And you know, we don't even want to talk about the love and hip hop mess. I mean, you look at those folk on there, they don't own those houses. Those are not their freaking houses any more than the houses that you see for the most part on Real Housewives belong to them. But you ain't hear me though. All that stuff is for TV. It is for reality TV. It's a whole bunch of Airbnb going on. Because first of all, who's going to be stupid enough to let you see their real crib? They're not going to be. They ain't stupid enough to, unless they're like the Kardashians and live up in a gated community. If you don't live in a gated community, you ain't seeing their real house. Why do you think the Kardashians had to move into a gated community? Because they were showing their real freaking house. So from that, all the rest, you're not seeing real people's houses. None of them ones that are on the Hollywood, that's none of them people's houses. Maybe one, maybe that was Ray J's, okay? You know, because quiet as it's kept, Ray J making a whole bunch of money on his electronics, y'all. Because he ain't made no money on music since. What was the last song Ray J had? One. Yeah, his one hit. I'm sorry. Oh, bad DC. Bad DC. Shame on you, girl. Stop it. But I'm telling y'all the truth. Same thing with the those Atlanta people. Stop it. That's not their houses. New York, neither. It's a whole lot of Airbnb going on. And before there were Airbnbs, they would just rent them out. The studios would rent the places out for filming. They're for filming purposes. Now, that's probably Kenya's house that you see now. That's probably her house. I don't know if she really owns it. But maybe that's where she lives. Let's see what you guys are saying. He's still counting up the... Oh, yeah, they still making money off of that because stupid people still go on there and click on that stupid ass stuff. Shoot. You know? I mean, it says a lot that a girl that young could... Anyway. Because those were from... She was young in the... Even though the tapes came out when they were, fully adult, I think they were only like 18 in the actual tapes. You know, I mean, it was all good for Ray J. You know, he wanted everybody to see his business. You know, he wanted everybody to see his business. You know, that was free advertisement for him. So, you know, whatever. But I'm sure he is making money off. But she's made a lot of money off of it too. Because, that was like when they first started the show. That's when people were actually watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I don't think anybody... I think this is like their last season or something on right now. Does anybody even watch that show anymore? Nobody's watching them anymore. Because, in my opinion, they are black men eaters. You know, Get them in, spit them out. I mean, is anyone surprised that Kim and Kanye are getting a divorce? Is anybody surprised? She got what she wanted. She got 4 kids out of him. She got 4 kids out of him. And had him and used his money to pay to get her body together so she could pop out 2 of them for him. You know? Because apparently she has some weird shaped uterus. Or it's like it doesn't sit whatever way it's supposed to. It's whatever. But yeah, I used to watch. I mean, I used to like them. I liked Chloe. She was the only one I liked. But you know, she's shown herself to be, garden tool. So, what can I say? You know, and maybe she was a garden tool the whole time, and I just wasn't really paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she was always a garden tool, you know, and she was just the one who was low-key hiding that fact. But yeah, garden tool. But yeah, this is their last season. Though somebody said something crazy about some other network is gonna pick them up. Better be just picking them up for the reruns. Nobody wants to watch them anymore. You know, they've done what they came to do. They have shown us, you know, how much they value our men, what they did to our men, to Black men. You know, I know most Black women don't want Kanye, didn't want Lamar, you know, or any of these other men that they're with. Nonetheless, they're still Black men, and it just seems like nobody seems to be good after being with them. Heck, even Bruce Jenner is now, you know, Caitlyn, you know? So it's some demonic stuff going on over there, in my opinion. In my opinion, some demonic stuff going on over there. Hey, Sheila. You know, I mean, but you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but I just think a lot of stuff that has been seen on their show and everything, a lot of that was, you know, to program people to see things a certain way. My opinion. But yeah. Bye keeping up with the Kardashians. See ya. And did you guys hear about what Lamar's about to do? He's about to get out there and do some fighting. What is he doing? Is he gonna be wrestling or is he boxing? I'm not sure. I think he's boxing. He's gonna be boxing. So they're trying to get him into some celebrity boxing. Lamar. Dude, I don't know. I don't know if you should do that. You know? I mean, according to some folk, he shouldn't even be here. Let me turn on this light. Because I'm going to come on camera. So I just want to make sure the light is on so y'all can see me. Let me come on camera. I know my son's going to come over here. Are you coming over here? You want to come say hi? He's coming. He's coming to say hi. Here he comes. Told y'all. Here he comes. He's coming. Say hi. Hi to the chat. Okay. Yeah. He's over there sleeping, so. You see what you guys are saying? The Nate Robinson. I don't know. But that's what I heard. I heard it on Wendy, though, today. I heard it on Wendy. It was on the Wendy show. Speaking of Wendy, y'all. So she got a movie coming out I think it's at the end of the month on Lifetime. And it's supposed to be the Wendy Williams story. And it's supposed to tell everything. Everything. You know, when she passed out on her ex and the baby, the whole thing, her snorting a little bit. It's supposed to be doing all of that. So it's supposed to be coming I think they said that it was coming on January the 31st. I think that's a weekend. Yeah, that is a weekend because my dad's birthday is the day before. So it's supposed to be that weekend. So yeah. And if you guys have not looked at it, please go look at the movie that just came out. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's on Amazon, where they have Sam Cooke, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Muhammad Ali when he was still Cassius Clay. And it's supposed to be like set on a summer's night back in the early 60s. And I was watching it earlier today, and so far it's really good. I'm gonna finish watching it, but you guys watch it because I'm gonna want to talk about it, and I don't want to be the blooper. I don't want to spoil it for folk, but y'all get on that one if you have Amazon Prime. Take a look at it. It's another one that's on Amazon. It's called Sylvie's Loves or something like that. That's also supposed to be good. You said you remember promoting the check. You ain't checking for it. Oh, wow. Well, it's good. It is good. It was funny, too, so far. You know, because it's showing, you know, Sam Cooke at a certain point in his career. And it's like you know, Malcolm. And because if this would have been in the 60s, I mean, they all were I would say they would have been like, you know, late 20s, early 30s at that point. Yeah. Yeah, the early 30s. Because Martin is 10 years older than my dad. So my dad was in his 20s in the early 60s. So therefore, Martin would have been in his 30s. But like, you know, so like, I guess it would be like, you know, under 35. They like in that age range. So, but take a look at it, you guys. I will, let me see. Today's Friday. I might come on tomorrow or Sunday. I'm definitely going to be doing some uploads over the weekend. Definitely going to be doing some uploads. I've got at least, I'm going to try to get 3 of them up. But 2 for sure. I hope. Y'all, it's the editing, y'all. It's the editing. That's the part that takes time. So I've done, like, I just got to get the editing done. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to get out of here. I will definitely be on live on Monday. And since Monday is a holiday for me, I'm not going to be waiting until the end of the day to come on. So I'll probably pop on earlier and do a live earlier on Monday. Just look out for the live. I will try to schedule it like I scheduled this one. I will try to schedule the one on Monday, on Sunday, so that it's already scheduled for Monday. Yeah, that's what I'll do. All right, you guys, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here until I see you again. I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.